Hello everyone, this is Paukshte Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. Today I'm going to show you a very useful technique. I'm going to show you how to make a pattern for a sweatshirt. I'll be making a sweatshirt of the blend wool. It's very convenient to work with it, because there is no need to edge it. The sweatshirt will be of a very simple design. This is the piece of fabric I'll be working with. The fabric is pretty warm. It has wool and viscose in its structure. I'm going to make a sweatshirt for one of the tailors of my fashion house, Natalie. I need her to come here for me to take the needed measurements of her body. Hello. Natalie is a new face for you. I've recently realized that she's been working in my fashion house for more than 9 years already. How comes I've never sewn anything for her? That realization made me feel guilty. This is why I decided to sew this sweatshirt for her. First, I'm going to show you how to take the measurements, and then I'm going to show you the sketch once again. The first measurement is the bust. One half of the measurement is 49 centimeters. Next, we need to measure the hips. There is no need to measure the waist. The sweatshirt isn't going to be close-fitting. Very nice hips. The full measurement is 108 centimeters, so one half is 54 centimeters. Next, I need to measure the back width. It should be measured from the top of one shoulder to the top of the other shoulder. 40 centimeters. One half of the measurement is 20 centimeters. We also need to take the length of the back. These are the only needed measurements. There will be no tucks or dots in the sweatshirt. It is going to be pretty loose. The design is very simple. The length of the back is 42 centimeters. What about the length of the sleeves? Have a look at them in the sketch. Notice that this detail is going to be made of just one piece of fabric. The sleeves are not going to be inserted in the armholes. We are going to make the sleeves as long as the width of the fabric allows. This is why I'm not even going to measure the length of the sleeves. What about the length of the garment? I'll make it about 74 or 75 centimeters long. What do you think? The sweatshirt is going to be soft, warm, and comfy. As I've already said, I'm going to show you how to make a pattern for it. I need to write down the length of the garment, 75 centimeters. Natalie, you can go now. Go for a walk. Let's have a look at the sketch once again. These are kind of the dolman sleeves. These could actually be the regular dolman sleeves. We don't want the sweatshirt to be too loose, so we've decided to change them a bit. Don't worry, we're going to show you how to make such sleeves. Have a close look at the neckline. We are not going to make a deep neckline here. We are actually not going to make any neckline at all. We'll just make a slit here. Forget about the balance. The front and the back will be absolutely even. The only things which will make the front different from the back are these pockets. There will be no pockets on the back. All the other details in the front and the back will be absolutely even. It won't take long to make a pattern for the sweatshirt according to these measurements. I can move this piece of fabric aside. First, I need to draw a vertical line. This is going to be both the center front and the center back. The line should be 75 centimeters long. I remind you that 75 centimeters is the length of the garment. Next, I need to measure and mark 3 centimeters down from the top. We need this point for the future designing. Next, I need to measure and mark the length of the back down from the point 3. it wouldn't be right to measure it down from the top. I remind you that in our case, the length of the back is 42 centimeters. Next, I need to draw the horizontal lines from the top point, from the back length, the point 42, and from the bottom. I'm going to outline the details with a marker pen later. This is both the center front and the center back. This line is even to the length of the garment. I remind you that we are not going to make the front or the back necklines deeper. Next, we need to divide the length of the back in half. 1/2 of 41 cm is 20.5 cm. These two details are even now. After that, I need to draw a horizontal line through this point as well. Next, I need to measure the width of the back here. In my case, the width of the back is 20 centimeters. I'll add 5 millimeters for the ease. This is the line which marks the width of the back. Let's have a look at the measurements once again. 1/4 of the hips measurement is 27 centimeters. It's not enough. I'm going to add 3.5 centimeters for the ease. The sweatshirt is going to be pretty loose. Once again, this line marks 1/4 of the hip measurement, together with the 3.5 cm wide ease extension. What about the bust? I also need to measure and mark 1/4 of the measurement and about 3.5 or 4 cm extension for the ease here. These are the points the side seam should be drawn through. This is the ease extension in the bust, and this in the hips. As I've already said, the sweatshirt is going to be pretty loose. Anyway, I don't want the side seam to be straight. I want it to be slightly round. This is how the side seam looks like now. It's just slightly round, it's not straight. The piece of fabric I'm working with is 140 centimeters wide. This is why I'm going to make the sleeve 70 centimeters long. If the sleeves are too long, Natalie will be able to roll them up. As I've already said, the piece of fabric I'm working with is 140 centimeters wide. 1/2 of the measurement is 70 centimeters. This is why I'm making the sleeve 70 centimeters long. I show you the way I usually work. It's up to you whether to follow my instructions or not. This is the sleeve bottom. I remind you that this line was drawn by dividing the length of the back in half. This is where I've stopped drawing the side seam. Next, I need to measure and mark 4 centimeters down from the point where the lines cross and draw a horizontal line from it.
Смотрите, что у нас получается.
The pattern is going to be changed. What do we have here? The center front, the center back, the side seam, the sleeve. Next, I need to move this point about 2 centimeters lower.
И смотрите, неважно,
Measure about 7 or 10 centimeters here by side and draw a round line connecting these points.
видите, что вот. Она идет ровно.
As I've already said, these points should be moved 2 centimeters lower.
Вы эту линию
Further from this point, the line should be drawn with a ruler.
она у нас
It was moved 8 centimeters down from the original line at the sleeve bottom.
теперь боковой шов.
This is the point 4,
Где вот тут вот 4.
and this is the point 2.
И вот
The side seam should turn into the sleeve this way.
уходит вот в эту нашу новую точку.
This angle should be straight.
Сюда прямой угол. У нас
Very nice. Let's have a look at the pattern. The center front and the center back, the side seam, and the sleeve bottom.
по низу. Поэтому
The sleeve is too wide now. It should be made a bit tighter.
рукава заузить.
It's very important to make the both sides tighter evenly. I'm going to make it about 5 centimeters tighter on each side.
Точки.
The line should be drawn this way.
Ничего
If you work the way I show you, you won't have any problems.
повторять за мной.
Next, I want to outline the needed lines with a marker pen.
И повторю все еще раз. Центр
This is both the center front and the center back.
центр переда. От нее прямая
This straight line marks the width of the piece of fabric I'll be working with.
отложили 2. Скруглили.
I measured and marked 2 centimeters down from this line, on the line which marks the width of the back.
Откуда вы возьмете?
It was done in order to make the shoulder slightly round.
Пошла на 2 наша линия. Наша линия
Measure about 7 or 10 centimeters by side here in order to do it.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8, неважно, вот отсюда. Вот сюда пошла на центр.
As I've already said, this point was moved 2 centimeters lower.
Это просто от нашей ровной линии на ширине спины вниз отложили 2. И пошла по
Next, I used the ruler for drawing the sleeve.
наклону прямо.
I'll outline it with a pencil.
Вот она.
The sleeve was made 5 centimeters tighter at the bottom.
Рукав. И наша линия,
This is how it looks like now.
вот точка 2, уходит по нашей новой линии.
The technique might seem complicated at first, but actually it's not.
Естественно, что внизу вот здесь вот прямой угол.
This angle has to be straight. Oh wow, it's not in my case.
Вот он. 90.
This is why we always need to check what we do.
Нужно выстроить
The angle is right. This is a must.
середины.
Use a ruler for drawing it. This line was drawn by dividing the length of the back in half. I'll sign it. Here it is.
По боковому шву
I've measured and marked 4 centimeters on the side seam down from this line.
такую горизонтальную
There was a horizontal line drawn through this point as well.
пошел. Чуть-чуть скруглить вот тут.
This is the side seam.
Сантиметра на 2 на 3.
It was made round here.
По нашей линии параллельной. Только
Next, I drew a line parallel to the original shoulder line.
снимаем 5. И теперь смотрите.
This side of the sleeve was also made 5 centimeters tighter. This is how the side seam looks like now. It goes to the new point in the sleeve bottom.
Брали на 5.
The pattern is almost ready. I don't need this detail anymore. This is how the pattern for the sweatshirt looks like now.
Ширина рукава
The width of the sleeve at the bottom is 16 centimeters.
16.
Very nice.
Очень хорошо. Смотрите. Думаю, что
I hope that everything is clear so far.
понятно.
I remind you how this pattern was made.
Плеча. Вот он.
Draw a line which marks the length of the garment. Measure the length of the back of it.
Насквозь 2 сантиметра.
Find the half of the measurement. Draw a line which marks the width of the back.
Сначала
Draw the shoulder and the sleeve. Make the sleeve as tight as you want. I made the both sides tighter and made sure that this angle was straight. The pattern for the sweatshirt is ready. Next, we need to adjust it for the knitted design. There's something I want to tell you. Having such pattern, you'll be able to sew so many different garments. You can't even imagine. You can adjust it to any design you like. Draw any lines and details. Try different ways of decoration. Try combining different fabrics and details. Use your imagination. You can even try cutting small details of the fabrics of different colors and attaching them to the main fabric as a decoration. It's up to you whether to do it or not. Next, I need to draw a line a bit above this one, which marks the half of the back length. You know what? You can actually draw these lines wherever you want. The most important thing is for you to follow my instruction when drawing the base of this pattern. What I'll be doing from now on is just a matter of the design choice. This is how it is going to look like in my case. It will be slightly round. The first line is ready. Here it is in the sketch. There will be a fold here in the sleeve details. I write it down. The fold. I'll also sign that this is both the center front and the center back. Have a look here once again. You can make a seam here if you want. Anyway, I don't recommend making seams in these details. I remind you that they will be even both in the front and in the back. The detail at the bottom is going to be about 7 centimeters wide. I'm not going to cut it from the bottom. I'm going to cut one more detail and attach it on top of the main one. As I've already said, what I'm doing now is just a matter of the design choice. You can draw and cut any details and lines you want. I'm going to draw the princess seams next. I remind you that there will also be the pockets on the front. Try not to make them too small. Big pockets are much more stylish and beautiful than the small ones. You can draw the princess seams however you want. Try not to make them straight. I want it to look this way. It will be slightly round. As I've already said, you can draw these lines however you want. This is how the princess seams are going to look like in our case. I remind you that there will be 2 princess seams both in the front and at the back. This is how the pockets are going to look like. I remind you that this is the pattern both for the front and the back. I want to mark the pocket. Here it is. I'm going to make a pattern for the pocket separately. I can't cut this one. I remind you that this is going to be a one-piece detail, and the pocket is going to be attached on top of it. The sleeves in the back and the front details are going to be absolutely even. I could have used even a more simple way for drawing the sleeves. Anyway, I wanted you not only to copy me, but to understand what I was doing. How to draw the sleeves, how to find the width of the back, how to alter the shoulders, and so on. The design is not complicated. But it's not the most simple one either.
Как бы, ну, такой простой крой, но это не такая туника из квадрата. Здесь все равно...
I want to measure and mark 11 centimeters here.
Сколько сантиметров? Ну, сантиметров
This is how wide the sleeve is going to be.
до тех пор, когда будет зашиваться разрез, а вот это просто так.
If there is enough fabric left, we're going to make a detachable collar.
Да, и ко всему этому
It will be cut on the bias.
раскроем такой
Natalie will be able to take it off and on whenever she wants to.
косой, который просто Наташа вот так будет одевать, Наталья Ивановна наша, и оно будет вот тут.
This is a pretty useful technique.
Когда оно нужно, мы не будем...
Don't you agree that sometimes you wish there was no collar in your sweater?
Выкройка готова.
We'll show you how to do it.
Положить калечку и сделать...
Next, I need to trace the pocket to a piece of the tracing paper.
Наша
I remind you that there will be 2 pockets in the sweatshirt.
два кармана, а один карман. Это у нас будет потом два кармана.
Guys, I show you a lot of different useful designs and techniques. I'm not greedy. I'm willing to share my knowledge with you.
Мы сами строим не от основы,
I want you to understand one very important thing. You do not necessarily have to make exactly the same garments as I show you. My job here is to show you the needed techniques.
зависеть. Вы возьмете кальку миллиметровку и построите
I want you to learn to use your imagination. I want you to learn to work with different patterns.
сейчас вся страна сошьет свитшот вот точно такой. Кто-то захочет, кто-то не захочет вот здесь отрезать. Вот моя
You do not necessarily have to make the seams here. You do not have to make the pockets. You can make the sleeves look as if they were inserted in the armholes.
захочет сделать и
Change the design however you want.
кокетку. Кто-то
You can also make more princess seams.
пожалуйста, кто-то не захочет карман.
It's up to you whether to make the pockets or not,
Формы квадрат.
of which shape to make them.
Из ладена очень
It's very easy to work with the blend wool. Stitch a square detail and make an opening in it.
ладен дает
A pocket is ready.
возможности. Сейчас
I am going to cut a pattern for the pocket next. The sweatshirt will be perfect for Natalie. She drives a car to work and back home. She'll be able to put the keys in the pockets. This is how they are going to look like. They will be 20 centimeters wide and 23 centimeters long in the top point. This is the perfect size for the pockets. They are not going to be too big. I can move both the pocket pattern and the sketch aside. I'm not going to use the tracing paper again either. Have a look here. Some people might not like this straight line. I remind you that the blend wool is very soft. It will be pretty comfortable this way. You can make the neckline deeper if you want. We might even decide to do it after the first fitting. If Natalie says that she wants to do it, we'll do it. A customer's wish is a rule. The best thing about this technique is that there is no need to make individual patterns for the front and the back. The pattern for the sweatshirt is almost ready. I'm glad that I've decided to show you how to make such amazing sweatshirts. I'm also happy about the fact that I'm making it for Natalie. As I've already said, the most important thing is that now you know how to make a base pattern. You can draw any details and lines you like. Change the design however you want.
делать по-другому.
Some people like baggy armholes. Change the side seam in this case. Draw it the way you want it to look like.
уже не знаю, у меня миллиметровка так закатывается, что мне надо как-то справляться с этим.
I don't like it when the tracing paper rolls up. It's not convenient to work with it in this case. I remind you that there will be a fold here in the sleeve details. Here it is. As I've already said, you can draw this line however you want. Do not forget to add 1 cm wide seam extensions to all the cut details. I remind you that I've made a pattern for the pocket. There will be the additional details stitched to the bottom. I'm not going to cut them in advance.
Потому что ладын же как у нас кроится? Он у нас кроится.
The fold. The fold. Do not forget to make a checkpoint here. This is the pattern for the pocket. The pocket is going to be stitched here. There will also be an additional detail stitched to the bottom. The pocket will be stitched in all of these 3 seams. This is the princess seam, and this is the sleeve seam. Today I showed you how to make a pattern for a sweatshirt of the blend wool. This is one of the techniques which I created myself. As I always say, it's better to see something once than read about it twice. Use the techniques which I show you. Don't be lazy. Practice makes perfect. The pattern for it is ready. These are the sleeve details. They were pinned on the fold. I remind you that the front and the back sleeve details will be even. In order to be able to pin the both details at the same time, I copied the pattern. I'm going to cut the sleeves first. When it's done, I'll cut the other details. Have a look at the sketch once again. The front and the back sleeve details should both be one piece. They will be absolutely even. Do not forget about 1 cm wide seam extension. Don't worry, I'm going to show you the technique for taking the blend wool. I'm cutting the 2 details which are absolutely even. I'll make a tiny notch here in order to mark the neckline, and I also make a notch in the center front here. The second detail should be absolutely the same. I need to make a notch here as well. I remind you that there are folds both in the center front and the center back. The 2 details are absolutely even. These are the upper details of the front and the back, the bodice which turns into the sleeves. Next, I want to fold this piece of fabric in half again and try cutting all 4 layers of fabric at the same time. This is both the center front and the center back. There should be folds in the both details. They're even. This is why I am going to cut the 4 layers of fabric together. The piece of fabric was folded in half twice. I'm going to cut the 2 center details and the 4 side details. I want to make tiny notches here in order to mark the center front and the center back. Do not forget to make the notches here in order to mark the position of the pockets. I remind you that there will be the additional details stitched to the bottom. I can cut these pieces of the pattern. I need to stick them together. This is the pattern for the details I'm going to cut. They will be stitched to the bottom. They should be pinned for cutting. I need to add the seam extension to one of the sides. Next, I need to cut the pockets. The pockets, the center front, the center back, the side details, the additional details for the bottom. The sleeves are also cut. I also need to make the notches to mark the position of the pockets. The notches should be tiny. Very nice. I can start taking now. I'm going to tack the front first. When it's done, I'll move on to tacking the back. These are the front details, the center and the side ones. I've already tacked the pockets. It wasn't hard to do it, because I had made the notches for tacking. Next, I need to measure and mark 2 cm wide extensions in the side details. Pin the center detail right to the line. Very nice. This is how the seams are going to be tacked and stitched. Do not tack the details right in the very edges. The width of the seams should be 1 cm. This is how the seams are going to look like. I'm taking the center front detail to the side ones. The details should be tacked on top of each other. Next, I need to tack the second seam absolutely the same way. I remind you that the seam shouldn't be tacked in the very edge. The seams should be 1 cm wide. If you tack the seams this way, you'll be able to cut the extra pieces after tacking and make the seams as wide as you want. We've already showed you how to work with the blend wool. When these seams are ready, I'll start taking the additional details to the bottom. I'm taking the sweatshirt for a fitting. You should be more accurate when taking it for stitching. I can start taking the bottom details now. I'll show you how to do it. This is how the front looks like now. Notice that the pockets are kind of hidden under this detail. I think that we're going to stitch this seam with the cover stitch machine. I've almost finished taking the front. Which details does the front consist of? The center, the side details, the pockets, and the additional bottom detail. The more details there are in a garment, the stronger it is. The sweatshirt is going to be soft, warm, and comfy. The technique for making it is also pretty simple. There is no need to insert the sleeves, to make the sweatshirt close-fitting, to make complicated pockets. Let's have a look at the cut sleeve details. I'm going to tack this seam next.
Сейчас мы с вами будем
From this
делать
point
вот этот шов. Смотрите.
to this one.
Вот от этой точки, вот этот.
Here they are in the sketch.
Точки.
In order to do that, I need to measure and mark 2 centimeters here as well. I remind you that the details should be tacked one on top of the other.
Центр переда с центром переда, вот он.
Be very attentive when taking the angles. They should be tacked accurately. I hope that everything is clear so far.
Надеюсь, вам уже понятно.
It's very important to work accurately. If you are not accurate enough in making a pattern, the details won't match and the garment won't fit you. Natalie might decide to make the neckline deeper.
Не знаю. Теперь вы понимаете,
Now you know how the sleeves are going to look like.
рукава одной детали.
I remind you that these are the one-piece details.
Один рукав,
This is the first sleeve and this is the second one.
всё точно как на
They look exactly like in the sketch.
Конечно, плечи я сейчас буду замётывать.
I am going to tack the shoulders
А
next.
уже когда будут работать, они там отработают.
I'll tack them just for the fitting.
Готовы изделия?
When the sweatshirt is ready,
И точно
we'll give you
такая
its
же
review.
спинка, только без кармана.
The back will be absolutely the same. The only thing which is different is the lack of the pockets.
Отличается, что она без карманов.
The front is ready.
Готово.
I've tacked the back off the camera.
Сейчас сложу вместе.
I'm going to tack the details together next.
Еще раз
Let's have a look at the front once again. This is the back. Pin the details face to face and tack them.
Ну, конечно, Наталья
The sweatshirt is going to be pretty wide. Natalie can make it tighter if she wants.
большую очень
I really wanted to make it wide. I wanted it to be stylish.
современный свитшот. Но
It won't be hard for Natalie to make it tighter if she wants to.
это
She'll just make this part tighter.
вот мои насечечки.
I need to match the notches for taking. I hope that everything is clear so far.
Как это все устроено? Вот
You can make this slit of any shape you want. Wider, tighter, deeper. You can make the front neckline deeper than the back one.
меньше. Ну, я
I'm not going to change it now.
вот так вот просто ровно.
The shoulders are going to be stitched just like all the other details. I've decided to take them, like the regular seams for the fitting, in order not to waste time.
Сметываем. И вы также
The
будете
purpose of the first fitting
сметывать. Я когда на
is for us to make sure that the garments are perfect.
заезде рассказывала,
I'm tired of telling you the rules for taking.
стоит на столе.
Do not ever tack the details on your knees. They should be tacked only on the table.
Сейчас ничего.
I'm sure that those of you who watch most of my videos already know how to do it.
Что, может быть, кто-то новенький смотрит, наши-то все знают, конечно, как правильно метать. Вот эта точка
Do you remember how this point was found?
спины
I've divided the length of the back in half, drew a horizontal line through this point, and moved it 4 centimeters lower.
следить,
I'm taking the side seams. Make sure that the checkpoints match. This is very important.
чтобы они совпали. Конечно,
We all do love perfect fitting garments with the tucks and darts.
правильные,
Anyway, such loose, simple clothes can also be very useful.
но иногда очень даже выручают вот такие очень простой крой.
I remind you that I'm taking the side seam. I'm going to tack the second one off the camera.
Я думаю, что
I really hope that everything is clear so far.
и думаю, что все
I want you to understand that you can make a lot of different garments on the basis of this pattern.
можно сделать очень много моделей. Ну,
That's
всё.
it.
Сейчас
I'm going to tack the second side off the camera.
и вот эту вторую половину.
The sweatshirt is tacked. Natalie is going to try it on next.
Все сметали, сейчас будем мерить. Ну вот на
Natalie is wearing the tacked sweatshirt. Have a look at her. I remind you that the front and the back sleeve details were one piece.
рукав это одна деталь,
This is how they look like now. Put your hands in the pockets, please. Very comfy. The back is absolutely the same as the front. It's just that there are no pockets in it. We're not going to change the neckline. It's perfect the way it is now. As I've already said, we're going to make a detachable collar for the sweatshirt. We'll show you how to do it. Turn around, please. The sweatshirt is very comfy. It will be very convenient for Natalie to wear it to work or when driving the car. I'm so happy that we had a chance to show you this sweatshirt. It's very important for you to learn how to make such base pattern. You can draw any lines and details you like. Change the design however you want. I'm also happy that we had a chance to show you this sweatshirt with the blend wool. The techniques which we showed you in these videos are very useful. Today we're going to give you a review of the finished garment. Natalie is wearing the finished sweatshirt. We showed you how to make a pattern for the sweatshirt, how to cut and tack it. These are the whole piece, front and back sleeve details. Have a close look at them. Now you know how to make such amazing sleeves. Notice that the armholes are not too baggy. I showed you how to make the sleeves look this way. The sweatshirt is very comfortable. Natalie loves it. Have a close look at the seams. This is how they should look like. We haven't edged the seams. They were just cut. This is one of the best features of working with the blend wool. Stitch the seams the way they were tacked. Have a close look at the sleeves once again. It looks as if there are two layers of fabric here, but actually there was a stripe of fabric stitched here. You can stitch it either to the right or to the wrong side. It's up to you how to do it. Have a close look at the wrong side. Have a close look at this seam. As I've already said, the seams were stitched just like they were tacked. I had marked 2 cm in the lower detail and then attached the second one right to the line on top of it. The seam is just 1 cm wide both on the right and on the wrong sides. Natalie has made the mittens for herself. They are very convenient. Whenever she comes somewhere where it's hot, she takes them off. When she goes out, she puts them back on. The mittens are not the only detail she made. She's also made this detachable collar. How long is it? 30 centimeters. Very nice. You can make it as long as you want. Notice that the detail is just slightly wider at the bottom. The edges were cut and stitched. We stitched them just for them to be more beautiful. There is no practical use in them. Natalie, put it on, please. I don't want to ruin your hairstyle. It's okay, you're beautiful anyway. Have a look at Natalie. She's put the mittens on. She's put the collar on. She's ready to go for a walk. The sweatshirt is very comfortable. It's perfect for those who drive cars. I'm sure that at least some of you will make such sweatshirts. Natalie, please tell them you're happy. I'm very happy. You see? You will also be very happy. The sweatshirt is very convenient. I love it that it's possible to wear both with the mittens and without them, both with the collar and without it. You can also try wearing different scarves. We've showed you one more way for being different and beautiful. Natalie says that the fabric is very soft to the touch. I love working with the blend wool. It not only looks good, but it's also very convenient to work with. Natalie is an amazing tailor. She's been working in my fashion house for almost 10 years. She makes absolutely breathtaking evening and wedding dresses. I love her. I'm happy that I finally made her take part in my video. We show you a lot of different useful techniques and designs. Learn to use your imagination. I really hope that at least some of you will make such sweatshirts. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. That's all for today. Let's be different and beautiful together. We are Paukshte Irina and Natalie. Subscribe to my channel, write comments, share the videos, press the like and the bell buttons. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you. I'm so happy that you're finally in one of my videos. There are rather lipstick marks on you. Thank you.